Hey everybody, what's good? Jacqueline Michelle here. In this video, I'm going to help you acknowledge, face, and overcome your fears by seeing where they lay within your subconscious mind. So we have two different types of fears that the mind goes through, or the psyche goes through. We have rational fears and we have irrational fears. Irrational fear is going to be something that's super instinctual, right? Something that seems life-threatening to your own existence. Therefore, a natural response would be to engage that flight or fight response and get yourself out of that situation as quickly as possible, as if you're about to fall off a mountain or a building, if you're about to get attacked by a bear, right? This is a beautiful natural response. Now, when we come to irrational fears are these concepts or these ideologies that keep us from attaining or heading in towards the goals of our desires. Now, one of the things that I want to let you know is that having a fear in this type is totally normal. Absolutely everybody on this planet has a fear of whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's love, relationships, emotion, intimacy. It's there. It's deeply ingrained in their subconscious mind. Now, one of the differences is going to be, do you befriend the fear or do you fall victim to the fear? So the fear comes from, on an irrational sense, it comes from the ego. The ego is something that wants you to always be in your best suit. It's something that doesn't want you to stray away from the path, because if it doesn't know what the outcome is going to be, it doesn't want to put itself in that situation. The ego always wants to be in control. And oftentimes in the spiritual community, we kind of like throw shade at the ego. We kind of say like, diminish the ego, dissolve the ego, remove it from, your existence, this, that, and the third. Yeah, but you have to understand that your ego is here to protect you. Your fears are here to protect you. Your insecurities are here to protect you. So once you realize that, wow, these things that I'm feeling, these resistance, these barriers, these rigid boundaries that I'm feeling aren't bad. They're not the enemy. They're just little doorways, little invitations, little cues to say, wow, this is how I feel about myself on a subconscious level. How can I have a conversation with this narrative within myself and say, hey, it's safe. I don't know what's going to happen either, but I know that if I continue to stay on this route of being safe, of being in the same routine, of being in allowing myself to be in control, or allowing my ego to be in control of myself, I'm going to continue to be uncomfortable. I'm going to continue to feel as though I'm wasting my life away, or that I'm not succeeding, or that I'm never going to find love, or that I'm never going to be good enough, right? So my invitation for you, if this is something that you're dealing with, which I'm sure it is giving yourself some time to see what exactly your fears are. Now, this can be touching you on so many different levels. Maybe you're afraid of failing. I feel like that tends to be the most, the undertone, the foundation of everything. Maybe I'm afraid of failing in romantic relationships. Maybe I don't put myself out there because I'm afraid that if I go on a date, this person isn't going to like me. Maybe this person's going to think I'm ugly. Maybe this person's going to think that I'm not interesting. Or maybe I'm going to continuously go out on this date and I'm going to cling on to them even if I don't really like them, because I'm afraid of being alone. I'm afraid that if I spend another year without a romantic partner, then nobody's ever going to love me, right? I know so many people deal with narratives around fear and love and intimacy. That's totally normal. We are creatures that are meant to bond. We're creatures that are meant to be with other human beings. So wanting that is completely okay. Let's bring this into a sense of finances. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of doing better in my job because I fear that if I continue to put in more effort, I still won't get promoted. I'm afraid of putting more effort into my job because I fear that even if I give it my all, it's still not going to be good enough. I'm afraid of starting my business because I'm afraid that I don't know enough to help people, or I'm afraid that people won't buy my product, or I'm afraid that I'm just going to put all this time and energy and money into my own business and it's just going to be a waste of time and space, right? So we can just keep it right there. We want enhancement in our lives when it comes to love and intimacy and relationships, and we want enhancement in our lives when it comes to money, abundance, financial liberation. Again, you can take this into any other area of your life where you feel like, I want something, I want to reach for it, but I'm feeling this resistance. Where is this coming from? So I wrote a mantra. We're going to turn this into a journaling exercise. So I wrote a little mantra or an affirmation that I'm going to invite you to write down. And then once you've written that down, I'm going to invite you to maybe put a timer on for about 10 minutes and just write all your fears down. Don't overthink it. Don't overdo it. Just whatever comes, just pen to pen and get it all out. So the mantra that we are going to work with today, the affirmation, the doorway that we are going to open to give ourselves permission to access the subconscious mind, the part of ourselves that holds these ideologies, that creates these belief system and patterns within ourselves, we are going to shift that narrative for our highest good. Cool beans? You're going to write, I release my fears. As I write each one down onto the page, I do so with the intention of rinsing it from my subconscious mind. As I give myself the space to face them, I realize they hold no true value towards my highest self. With this practice, I affirm that I am worthy of receiving and experiencing all of my wildest desires. Give yourself some time. If you want to pause the video, put that timer on for about 10 minutes and then just get everything out. I'm afraid of being hurt. I'm afraid of falling in love and being abandoned. I'm afraid that if I have children, I won't be able to rear them correctly. I'm afraid that if I quit my job and try to travel the world, I'm going to fail and I'm going to end up wherever. All these fears that you have are normal. All of these fears that you have are rational. What your responsibility for yourself to live your most optimal version of existence is to realize that these fears are bullshit. The fears are bullshit. The fears are literally the ego coming in and saying, hey, I don't want you to take this risk because we don't know what the fuck is going to happen. So once you've figured out what your fears are, I want you to write them down in bullet points. And I want you to put a little arrow, or maybe even write it underneath. And I want you to write down what would happen if this fear was out of the way. What would happen if you didn't let it stop you? So an example of that, we can bring it back to love, is I'm afraid of failing in my next relationship. And the way that your fear has manifested itself into your life right now is always rejecting dates or never really going out to meet another human being, right? Just kind of not putting yourself in the vortex of dating. And so because of that, you're not getting this traction, you're not feeling this momentum of what it would be like to be with another human being. Now, if you remove that fear, or if you acknowledge that fear and you tell your ego, you tell your subconscious mind, hey, it's safe for me to explore because I know every single relationship that I get into, I'm going to learn about myself. I'm going to learn what I do like. I'm going to learn what I don't like. I'm going to say, wow, if it didn't work with this person, I gained something from it. And now it's going to take me one step closer to the next person, right? So that can be a little invitation or a way to ease your subconscious mind and saying it is safe for me to date. And knowing that if I do fail, which you can't fail. Failing would be not trying. But if this relationship, if I enter this engagement or this interaction with another human being and it doesn't work out, I'm still lovable. I'm still valuable. I'm still enough. I'm still worthy of receiving love. And this doesn't mean I'm a failure. So back to what I was saying, one of your fears is I'm afraid of failing in my next relationship. I want you to write what it would feel like, how it feels in your inner world to put yourself out there and receive the love and receive the connection and to receive the intimacy that your soul desires, that you desire. How does it feel to step into my truth, to step into my desires? Bringing this into finances, you're afraid of starting your own business. Right? That's totally normal. And I know that this is something that more and more people are wanting to get into, being an entrepreneur, making their own hours, living a life of freedom. But so many people have that fear of what happens if I don't succeed? What happens if I quit my 9-to-5, I put all my time and energy into my business and I get nothing out of it? That is a totally normal fear. Again, it's just the ego saying, fuck, my stability, my survival, my security that I feel from my 9-to-5 job can completely vanish. How am I going to feed myself? How am I going to put the clothes or the food over my head and the clothes on my back, right? That's a normal fear. But it's super important to understand that in the process of not stepping into your fears, in the process of not stepping into your truth and into your desires, you are diminishing your light. You're taking away your value. And the fact that you want something means you deserve it. The mind cannot create an experience or a desire in its own hemisphere if it isn't in alignment to what the heart wants, right? So honor yourself in that way and understand that, hey, this fear is normal. So you write down, I'm afraid of starting my own business because I'm afraid it won't take off. I want you to just write. And again, all we're going to do is feel what it would be like to have your own business, to have this take off, to say, wow, I did this and it feels so good to wake up every morning knowing that I'm living a life in my purpose. It feels so good to wake up every morning and make my own hours. It feels so good every morning to have a product or to have a service that I believe is going to bring structure or is going to shift the frequency of the world for the better, whatever your product or whatever your service is, right? If it's in alignment to you and it makes you happy, it shifts the frequency of the world to something more higher, to something higher. So that's my invitation. You write down your fears, you say your mantra, you write down your fears, get them all down on paper. If there's 15, 20, 100 fears, get them out, release them, face them, acknowledge them instead of running away and distracting yourself with other things. Like, face these aspects of yourself, these shadow sides of yourself, and say, wow, look at the ways in which my ego protects me. Now let me also protect myself by telling my ego that it is safe to take these risks. It is okay to make mistakes. It is okay to put myself out there and be received and sometimes be rejected. It is going to happen, right? One of the things that you can also think about is when you're 80, this is a Tony Robbins thing, when you're 80 and you're rocking back and forth on your rocking chair and you think about all the things that you did, the date that you went on, the business that you started, the degree that you headed for, the countries that you traveled to. Wow, I took all these risks. Look at the amount of abundance that are received on so many different levels. How good is that going to feel? Or when you're 80, sitting in your rocking chair and you think, damn, I should have gone to that country. Damn, I should have called that dude back. Damn, I should have started my business. I wonder how that would have turned out, right? No matter which direction you go, if you sit in your fears or if you move in and breathe to your fears, you're going to be uncomfortable. Neither one of these is a comfortable place to stay. So if you are going to be uncomfortable, either sitting here and doing the same thing over and over and over again, or moving here and trying to make some fucking elbow room, trying to figure out how you're going to make shit works. But I mean, shit, both of them are fucking uncomfortable. Do you want to be uncomfortable and stagnant, or do you want to be uncomfortable and grow? Do you want to be uncomfortable and stagnant, or do you want to be uncomfortable and grow? That's my invitation for you today. Acknowledge your fears. It's totally normal to have them. It's your body's, your psyche's way of protecting you. Protect yourself and say, I am safe. I am worthy. I am enough. I am lovable. If I do all of these things and they don't come out the way that I expected them to, how fucking cool. The universe has so many different variables that I could get into. But how amazing it feels to know that I trust myself, I trust my ability, I trust in the unfolding of life to take chances and to say, you know what, I'm in control of my own existence. So remove your fears, dissolve your fears, breathe into your fears, dance with your fears, and create the life you deserve and desire.